And I'm back online now after my wife made a call from Hungary to say she needed assistance because, well, I tried to get her out of Hungary on an EasyJet flight, but it was quite complicated. I had to book the flight; that was too expensive, and then I had to pay her to travel there, and she didn't do it quite as I expected. And a psychiatric nurse confused me and got me to stop the transfer, in which case she missed the train, and therefore couldn't get the flight. And then she was on the street because she had no home. She'd been made homeless. And she'd been made homeless because a gangster had stolen all the money and deprived her of her home. I think her stepfather died of a heart attack, and her brother was shot. Another stepbrother was actually half-brother. Was it actually a stepfather's son, which is not related to her? He got shot. I'm not quite sure. I think it was the gangster. And she was supposed to sign away all her money and property because she inherited it. And of course, how it happened, it wasn't there. Because he said make a rich and somebody, he stole a lot. And that's unfortunately what happened. And he stole money from a lot of people too, in this little city in South Hungary called Macau. And Edith was compelled, of course nobody would take her in, she was suspected of murder herself, but she didn't do it. She wouldn't have done such a thing. Her brother did torment her, no, her brother actually did torment her. She tried to get out several times before, but he stopped her. I don't know how it happened. So it was actually a disaster. She missed 3 EasyJet flights and 3 bus trips. So that was the end. That's how it happened. And then she was also in a graveyard. Nobody else to go. She's sort of safe there, living on the streets dangerous. She went in parks and things. It's quite warm down there, so she got a sleeping bag. I bought her a sleeping bag. But I send her money which she can pick up. And obviously she said, come and support me or send me money. So I decided to go there. And so it cost me about £400 to travel there by train. And it was difficult to get out of the country because of this country not being watched. They don't like me to leave. And I was not followed. But I got there. It took 25 hours on the train and then a 4-hour bus ride. I did tell them, they knew I was coming and I told them. And when I got there, this landlady who was Erica, discovered she charged me 10,000 francs a week, which is reasonable. And if Edie had got there, it'd be 20,000. But it was reasonable. I could afford it because I had an income from my carers. Well, that went all right. But then she had a baby child, not quite sure, a daughter was sick, and it wasn't a small thing. I don't know what's wrong with it. So she took it to the doctor, and he charged her. And she wanted me to pay the Medicare costs, and I didn't have a choice. It was either going on the street or paying, so I paid her. And he went just going up and up, and I was eventually bankrupt, and I couldn't afford it. So they helped me to leave with a man, big arms, big strong muscles, helped me to leave her, and I was homeless. And Edie was homeless all the time. So she came in there sometimes. That was an awful place. Nobody would put her out. Nobody looked after her. And so I went into this homeless hostel. The police took me to the doctor first of all to see if I was fit, but I had a heart problem. And when I went to the hospital, I almost had a heart attack. I actually had an angina attack, and I was collapsing. So they thought I was going to die. And doctors over there, they have 2 choices. Either you're strong, in which case you live, or you're weak. And since the heart attack was taking me, not as weak, let's give her a lethal injection and finish it. And they didn't. And then I got better. I recovered from it. It was angina spread or something. And he's strong, he could live. And so to say, they took me to this homeless hostel, which was out in the country somewhere. It was a dreadful place. People slept on the chairs. They had to put 2 chairs together to form a bed, and then you put blankets, wrapped yourself in blankets. It's cold at night, very cold at night. So you slept there, and it was absolutely awful. There was no food, but I had to trade. Somebody brought a potato and cooked a meal, and I gave them 10 ferrets, and he gave me a potato for his meal. So he traded. That's strong. To trade is strong. So we both got marks for that. And then I managed to contact my carers, and they sorted out money to be paid. I had money. I did have money on my card, but not enough for a hotel. And so I gave it to the policeman who cashed it. I was able to pay the fee for the home, so I got fed. And then I had to go home. But I was worried about Edith also because she couldn't go home. Because I was going to go there and bring it home, but I couldn't do it. They were way taken. And another lady took 40,000 ferrets for that's over £100 for to pay her back pay. So she was of course quite severe about it, so very nasty. She did say she'd pay it back, but she never did. And so I was going to go on this EasyJet flight to London, which is quite pleasurable, but I had another angina attack at the airport. Panic, it was fear of flying. And blood pressure went up, and I had this minor heart attack. And I had to go to a Budapest hospital this time, which was somewhere. And on the way, I was taken there by ambulance. I mean, they would have just thrown me out because they thought I was right, but basically I needed someone to go because I had no money. I did have someone in the car, but not enough for a hotel. And of course, it's much more expensive than hotels. So it's price of €25 a night, which is what I had. And they cut my money. The carers who looked at me cut my money, so I had less money than I had. So I would have been afforded if they hadn't done that. And I was taken to this cohort, which actually means, I think it means death house or sick house or something. And it was an awful place. All very sick people there, and poor people. It was because they thought there was a psychiatric component in my heart attack. They put me in a psychiatric hospital with heart disease treatment. So it was included both psychiatric drugs and heart bloods. And so I survived for a while. And they're quite primitive. You know, most of the treatment for heart disease is bed rest. And people, well, one person died in the laboratory. I think he had colon cancer, but they didn't know that. And he died during the night in the laboratory as a right person. They just found him and he fell out. Closed corpus. And anyway, I was in there for shoplifting. Well, he apparently was starving. And he stole money and started to shop food, which is not worth much, but he was quite severe. And on the way down to this hospital, which is just outside Budapest, it's in Budapest, but on fringes, the coach was stopped. I'm not quite sure why. And I was frisked in the coach. I was lying down, frisked in the coach, and the driver had his radio stolen, and they were discussing whether to hang me or not because they didn't like this. So there's a revolution going, it was very nasty. So then they managed to get up there and they drove off through. And relatively safe there. And the food was awful. It's bread, just bread, and the bread gave me an illness. So I had a reaction against bread. I was sick, and it was awful. It was. The country, the Budapest diet is very poor because of the. It's actually difficult to get the food individually. If they had free enterprise system, people would trade and bring the food in, but they don't do that. It's all done by some other system. So communism doesn't work awful for this. They say it's a socialist government, not communist, but I don't know what the difference is. At one time they accused me of being a communist, but actually don't approve it because I used to live in a communist country and it doesn't work, so I don't believe in it. And I was able to get out, but they still think I'm a communist going to win there, but I'm not. It's all rubbish. It's certainly not now, so it's all, and they have Nazi, it's a Nazi film. They had the gas chambers are closed, but still have lethal injections. And I think the scheme was if I don't know, I could live until Tuesday. If I survive until Tuesday, I'd get a lethal injection and throw me away because I had no money because they stopped the money supply. Dark into the place like that. Because having no money is weak, you see. So having money is strong. It's weak or strong, basically. And of course, it's quite universal. And the lady who treated me was a very nice doctor, a very beautiful woman. She was quite young, about 26, but she was a good looker. blonde hair and so on. But she was a doctor and she knew about other things apart from mental illness. She didn't know a bit about it. She was well skilled, and she examined my stomach and realised it was gas that was causing the problem, flatulence. And so I was refused. I said I mustn't eat bread. I mustn't eat bread. So I stopped. She was actually quite helpful. And she allowed to use the computer, which put me in touch with the carers I have in London who were able to finance my return home. And they, because I had asked, no carer would take me, so I had to have a escort. And eventually the man came, which is very great for him to come. It was a terrible journey for him. He had come all the way from the north of England. And they came on the taxi, and I was ready. I was just ready for it. He was coming. And it's very difficult for me to walk to the taxi because I had a terrible angina. I don't know why. It may have been the drugs they gave me. Somebody gave me. I don't know who it was. And I got into the ambulance. And we drove to the airport. It was very hard to be. It was just the same place very hard. Yeah, it didn't used to be. And I had a problem in the airport going to the gate because it was only a 5-minute walk, but if you walk the whole place, but it took me a long time to walk there because I had to walk very, very slowly. I couldn't walk. And when I got to the gate, which was obviously not, it was a bit delayed, there was no problem. They decided they were going to put me back to hospital. They decided it wasn't a good idea because I probably wouldn't go out. I'd die there. And that's how they put me on a lift, a sort of chair lift to put into the plane. Now I wasn't allowed to move out of my seat. I had to sit there. And if there was a problem with the plane, if it inflamed as a minor accident, I would have to be lost. That's the law. But we made an uneventful journey to London, and I then had to have a taxi and a wheelchair down to the taxi back to home. And I was really pleased to get home. And then I was able, a couple of days later, I was able to get my angina tablets, and the problem cleared up. So I'm better now, but it was awful. I had terrible angina. I don't know what it's caused by. Oh, well, I don't want to die at school for heart of the arteries. I'm pretty old. So I'm an old man. I may not look old, but I am. I'm very old. I'm 71. Well, somebody did. And I'll probably die of an aneurysm. As I said, they might have an aneurysm. I don't want it swollen yet, but you die very suddenly and very unpleasantly. Very nasty. That happened. And I came back. Everything's still working in the house, but eventually I think I made a mistake with the installation of software. I had had a problem with the computer. It wasn't working for some time. But then a man round here, a neighbour, came to me and stabbed me again in the chest, which he's done before. And so the wound doesn't show now. He used a steel wire with a point on it. And it was meant to, because the doctor told me the object was to, Dr. Zellwey said the object was to go into the aorta, cause a blood clot, and therefore death, a blood clot in the aorta. And apparently it's other people as well. So I feel something very, very serious. I had a mobile phone pushed in my pocket. I'm not quite sure what happened, but he missed the vital spot. And I was still alive. I don't know, it still hurts. And I called the police and they came. And the person who interviewed me was a pre-social worker, and I don't know that she tried to discredit me. It obviously was true. You can see the wound, and then she said he's one of our most ardent supporters in Square Cross Road. And I realised he was from the Baptist Union who were going around murdering people by chopping their brains off. And I told her, have you done this operation in front of a lot of young people with a Baptist church in front of whatever? It's not just the Baptist, all the churches. And she said she'd been practising for weeks and was quite good at it. So I said, well, you're a murderer, aren't you? And the police dismissed her. They accepted it. She would accept it. And then, because I said the sentence under the Sharia law, which is the Islamic law, is death by beheading, if you don't know what I mean. Because it's the most terrible operation you can do for a man. One of the most terrible operations and procedures. And so that's the answer. And she then went from me with a knife to the head. And I was able to stop it, but eventually it kept on coming, and there was no help there. There was other policemen around me. I didn't do it. It was too quick for them. So I strangled her. I didn't want to. I strangled her. And it was an action of self-preservation, self-defence, desperation. I didn't want to do it at all. Killing people, it's very unpleasant. I used to take it out of me. It really upset me. And I'm sure the family would be upset too because they lost their daughter. That's awful. But, well, she was a murderer. And I stood up to a murderer. But he was still awful. And anyway. The other terrible thing is that, as I say, as you know, there's an Ebola epidemic going on. Well, a long time ago, I don't remember when I was working at a local girls' school as a technician, big deal. And one of the girls came in from Africa a long time ago, and she had Ebola, and I didn't know, but I caught it. And I survived and got over it. And we were taken to isolation hospital, and I survived. So my blood was used to see if it worked on her. They found it was to find out what it was. And she came back to the book. We went this isolation hospital then tried to find out what was going on, find out what the virus was, I don't know what happened. But they reinfected both of us. I threw it off, but she died. It was awful. The whole team died. So it was in St George Hospital. And I had to call the authorities to let us out of the hospital. It was actually awful. But I told them that, so I went to when I was there, Edith was sleeping in a graveyard, and one of the graves was open, broken. And she's been taught that the people's bodies are still there waiting to be resurrected. And she was there trying to get her son to come back to her because her son had died as a choked on a sweet, for him, 17-month-old. And she was by his grave praying for him to come back to life. And what she did, the priest had told her she would. So that was awful. And she looked in the scrub, there was no body. So she put it, they must have put a hand in or something. And she ingested some of this and got bubonic plague. But that couldn't come up in spots. But I caught that too. So because I caught it when I slept with her. And it's a venereal disease. So I had to go to the St George Hospital to the BD clinic, and they did a test, simple test for the dipstick, my urine. I tested positive, so they gave me antibiotics, and I'm better. And while they took blood from me to see if this blood would have any effect on Ebola, which is also a different thing. And of course, it's all sorts of stuff. Absolutely awful. And but Edith, his wife, we married 2006 on the 27th of December. I remember it. And we filled a form in the post office to be registered on marriage. Whether it's actually happened or not, I don't know, because I was involved in a plane crash afterwards. The plane was hijacked and crashed. And I'm not quite sure what happened, but I survived. I think most people survived, but it was back in Hungary again. It was going to Gatwick when he was deflected to Kazakhstan by the hijackers, but they had repelled them, and they were Muslims, and we were afraid they might crash the airliner. They wanted to give us tablets to make us sleep, so we shot them. And we came back must have come back to go back. It was very hard, but it ran out of fuel and came down. A place called Kosnograd, which is a district near Bamako, and that's how we got it. And I remember I got a bus to. So I got back to it was actually a long time ago. Yeah, that's a different story. But I was back in Mecca, and as I say, I've come home now. My wife is still there. She's left Mecca. Last time she was in Szeged, and she was trying to get to London by bus. She has a bus ticket which she bought, so she only needs the transfer cost of bringing it up to date. But I thought she was coming home on Friday, but she didn't turn up. And she didn't contact me for ages. And I found out that then she did ring me to say that she'd been attacked. She'd actually tried to get a lift with somebody to London, and he was saying, "You should sleep with me." I said, "No, he didn't. He didn't even slept with her. He just kidnapped her, and they put their hands. They had a group of men putting their hands on her. They all got this terrible disease, Black Death. It's actually black spot disease. And she says they all died, so she got out. She wriggled free, and she was there to ring me up. So she's a biohazard. I don't know where she is. The authorities know about it because I'm in contact with the people in Macau, not Segia, but the people in Mackler. I'm friendly with the police from now. He's quite a nice bloke. And he was sick. He might get the stuff as well, but it's treatable with an antibiotic, which is the good news. And Erica's no longer online, so she now got it. So I really, because he did have a contact with her friends, childhood friends, and everybody's very popular. Edith was very popular. They're all kissing and stuff because of this double murder. And it's a shock, this. And if they'd all died, it's really unhappy about that. Because they may not have known it was in time that it was a disease you can treat with antibiotics. And she then she I don't know where she is now. She rang, I think today, yesterday, it was yesterday, I can't remember. But I sent her some money today because I had some money, very little. But it is enough to release a ticket, and hopefully she's on the bus coming up, because she had difficulty getting to Nethergate, or she was going to get a lorry to London. So she may have got a lorry to Budapest, I don't know. And so I don't know what's happened to her. I've no idea. No idea at all. That's very little money. Last one of money I sent her was £13. And that was, I can't do server updates very slowly, so I don't know how much she's got in there. So she's got it. Hopefully she's all right, I can't tell. And she is probably infectious from this VD. I don't think she's had any treatment, so if she does turn up, she will need treatment with this antibiotic. Of course, it's contagious, so it's not very nice. Very serious. And it's probably in the hospital where I was, because I was infectious while I was there. Of course, the people infected me, infected it to them, but they couldn't have told them they can take drugs for these antibiotics. And yeah, really ill. So around that. And apparently the police upheld my complaint that he had been stabbed, and the man who's near me was arrested for murder, not me, but murdered somebody else, so probably by the same method. And well, that's calmed it down a bit. And it really is awful. Things are going awful. I don't know what's going on, so I'm going. So that's how bad it is. And I'm still trying to build my transfuser. That's contentious, because it could be the source of power that Hitler had before the war. We don't know, because I have no record of it, and I have no special knowledge. And so my mother told me about it basically, but she didn't know. And she didn't know what deuterium. But I don't know that house of hydrogen. I still have one here. I've got a car one to have again. Well, they drugged me with this terrible poison which made me give up. And it may be a good thing to do something else, but it's costing a lot of money, because I had to get rid of my tools because they were rather cheap and horrible. So I threw them away, and so no good. So I bought new ones. New drill. The man who took them was looked like a criminal. He wasn't. He was just getting rid of things wrong. And so I no longer have a capacitor in my transfuser. There's no capacitors, and the transfuser comes from Annie Birmingham, right? So he named it. And it's actually a combination of transformer and fuser, which is a similar device. But the transfuser uses transformer pressure, transformer bursting pressure to compress the source base. It runs cold instead of hot. It's not hot fusion, it's not thermonuclear fusion, it's something else. But it does get some heating. And I'm trying to get some hydrogen. But I can't use it here. I can't have a tube of hydrogen. I have to go to a company in America that does actually sell tubes of hydrogen. It's actually a borosilicate tube closed at both ends, full of hydrogen. It's 5 millimeters of mercury. That's the old unit. Which they know what that is, and they can do it. But so far I have no reply from them. I've had my email, and they haven't replied. It's possible there's a restriction on the sale of stuff, but it's quite expensive for them money. I don't have any credit, but of course the credit card is paid back, so that'll take a long time. So I've got any credit now. I've always been quite sensible. I mean, I thought Edith was alright around country. I didn't know she was in trouble. No idea. And the other problem is that this bloke who did these murders in the house, took the money, wanted me because he thought I had loads of money because I survived it. Because we're sources, see. Of course, money's different over there. Money's quite small. So he tried to drug me. He tried to process it. So then he tried to knife me. And having failed to do that, I got a knife off him. He went off, I'll get my gun, he says. That was speaking with their language, very Russian, of course. And I went, and before I walked towards the gun and took it over his hand and shot him with his own gun. And of course, that's pretty serious. But I think the people were pleased because he'd robbed a lot of people. That's before this outbreak of the bubonic plague. And anyway, it's an awful story, absolutely awful. Several things are going on. And well, that's what's going on. Of course, the Church of the Fatal Lobotomy believes that it cures everything, because it doesn't. It kills you, a death sentence. And so there's some hospitals around here, and hospitals are full of brain dead people who just sit about without doing anything else. And they say, oh, they haven't. Oh, it's not nonsense. It really is. So they're killing people to go there. They think if everybody's dead, Jesus will come and sort it all out. It's nonsense. They're worse than the Taliban. And these ISIS people are actually trying to get converts by sending out literature about converts, because of course invading countries is a savage thing to do. And I don't like the stories of these people standing on the mountaintop. But they hate Christians because Christians do terrible things as well. So there's no comparison. The Christians have been murdering people for at least 1,000 years. And of course, the Muslims are the Gnostic Christians. The early Christians were two types. There was the Catholics, so they didn't start until about 300 AD, when Constantine was converted. But the Gnostic Christians were started by a man who's Scarface, who was disfigured because Jesus told him he came from a star in the sky. And the Muslims do actually believe that Jesus landed from a star in the sky. Probably comes from Android. So not even a human being. That's the Muslim belief. Muslim belief, it's not a belief, it's knowledge. And the Muslims, the Gnostic Christians, did not believe in immortality. It was just a way of life. And it was, they followed some of the Jesus things, but not all of them. And so they're actually Gnostic Christians, and they've hidden that fact to prevent them being persecuted. And that's how bad it is. Well, the Christians were shown they're murderers, and they want to lobotomize everybody. Of course, the church has been doing it for a long time. About 600 AD, I think it was discovered, when it wasn't known before. It's in Gallen's medical textbooks. Contains account of brain surgery, and of course it's reproductive then. But that's how bad it is. The police do use it to pacify people, of course. It's a terrible trial. If there is a terrible trial, they wouldn't do it. The doctors don't do it, because the doctors are Normans and they're Christians. And of course, all the textbooks say, oh, do this and that, because they believe it, because they know it does. It's all in private medicine. And I think all Christian doctors either need a treatment for doing the operation or severe treatment. I mean, it's so bad they need beheading. I know at least one doctor who's done one. Other doctors do. Most of them do it during their training. So they're criminals. That's what they call Christian doctors are. The Muslims know about it, and of course it's part of Muslim training. Because I went to Tehran University, I learned Islamic studies, found out about it. When I was coming back, I was brainwashed. And the Christians are awful people, horrible people. Although I sympathise with terrible these people are feeling in wherever it is, Iraq. Not that much sympathy, because the Christians are terrible criminals too. It's not obvious, really, because they all believe the same thing. They terrorise each other. And of course, they thought if there was a Christian peace work, well, of course it would be. The actual trouble in Iraq, after they divided Sudan, that would be all right. But they started having treatment centres, and they were murdering people by chopping their brains in half. And they couldn't treat them, and they were trying to treat these children, the Iraqi children who knew who Jesus was, to believe Christianity. And that's where the trouble started. That's what caused the revolt. And the British are responsible, really. Of course, the Americans have freedom of religion, so I don't think that's so serious. And they do have humanitarian motives. And well, some people do believe in Islamic State extending from Iraq. Actually, at one time, Islam was one nation. It was all combined together. It was the British who split it up, I think. But they just divide and rule usually. I understand one of the things ISIS is doing, which they're very powerful people and quite clever, not stupid, quite well organised. I think the terror will stop eventually once they become converted. I think they probably leave them alone. But it's not difficult because Islam is an obvious religion once you know about it. And most people are default Muslims because knowledge of space and people out in space is part of their knowledge. And it's not much, obviously they've been in contact with aliens, sort of like that. But the actual stories of Muhammad include alien contact, so it's all part of Islam. And lumps of rock coming down from the sky. A mosque is a shelter against Walidis coming down from the sky, which do happen occasionally. That's what the British say it doesn't happen, but it does. It has happened in Britain. We had a hit on Sheffield recently, and also there's also started going against sort of destruction, but it's clearing up. They're very quickly clearing up, and they say it didn't happen. There's the bastards, but it's a bad society, a very evil society. And I do regret hurting this woman who's probably had the best of intentions, but she was misled. She was told things that simply weren't true. Brain damage only destroys the mind, and it doesn't help at all. And the lies that were told by, I think it's Heineken's man, I can't remember, but he was found as a psychiatrist and he murdered people. That's what he did, murdering people. Murdered a friend of mine called Annie, and they shot her first and then damaged her brain. So she was now there. She may have recovered from the injury. People do, and people's brains grow back. Same as a kidney or a liver. If it's damaged, it tends to grow back. The brain, some brains are the same. Apparently mine grew back after that injury. There's a mark here when they put a knife in. And I don't know what's happened to my brain, but I can't see the side. I'm told it's not right shape because of this injury. So, some people say it was intact, so I don't know, because I've never seen the X-ray. I did a CT scan and mine said my brain was damaged and I should have paralysed left side, paralysed left side, they said, but I'm not. So I don't know what's happened. The brain reroots itself and regrows, all sorts of things, so the brain's very flexible. Anyway, that's the end of it, but that's what they believe. They believe that story about Jesus was an alien from the start. And it's in the Bible, the story in Scarface, story in the leadership show is there. And they decide to lie and sell Christianity with immortality and Jesus, the Emmanuel himself. But it's all a lie. It really is. And they make money out of it. Christians make money out of it. That's all they do. Because the priests know they're going to die, so they have a good time now and steal the rest. So people who aren't priests and aren't rich, or they get their work and not just enough food, and then they die. They can't come back until their friends have been to see because they're dead, and that's the end of it. And they lie, terrible lies. Basically, all these graves need to be torn down and destroyed. The church is destroyed because it's all a lie. I'm really upset because this guy, because they brainwash people, you see. They want people to believe. You say that actually protects the priesthood and some of the rich people. I don't think rich people are more less rich than anybody else. But it can be rich and good and rich and bad. But it's awful, really awful. I had all my money stolen. My cousin, we inherited. At least I've been told now that my aunt left me £400,000 or something. Well, my cousin watched it, so they altered the will. We decided to sell it 5 years and I didn't get any. They decided I shouldn't have it. And there's my cousin who's a master of work in Wollaston, not related to me. He says, "You'll not get it," because I said so. Why should you have it? It's absolutely awful. Money's poisonous, wherever it is. I've actually told the lawyers that's what's happened, and it's possible they're trying to get the money back, but that's what I get it. But they don't have any money anyway. So I might go around saying what a terrible place Britain is. Well, Britain isn't so bad, it's a pretty good place actually. But they do tolerate Muslims because freedom of religion does exist here, and the Muslims are a superior force, so they have to accept them. And a lot of my friends have become Muslims now. I don't go to the mosque because I'm a bit too tired. I'm not very strong. It's very tiring praying. I don't think all Muslims pray don't have to. I think you have to go to the mosque once, basically. But you know, when I went there, I realised this is where I belong. And so I'm Muslim. And I was a Muslim all my life. First, since I was a child, I believed Jesus came from Australia because it's in the Bible. So I've been a Muslim all my life without realising. So the Parsi wife I married was accused of apostasy because she married a Christian mum. Basically, I told her I was a Muslim all my life. I had to go to church, but basically I was a Muslim. And so she was free. I was just like that. So I've always been a Muslim. And at one time I did believe in Christian faith. I mean, God has a purpose for it, but I suddenly discovered it was. It's very sad. I needed prayed for hours to through his horse all night to get the son come back to her. Because he really believed what the priest told her. Of course it wasn't true. So she's now rejected what the priest told her and said it's not true. She's not the only child, she says. But because the first child died, they took the other children away. And she's not in a position to do anything. It's understandable. I think she always likes to see them. And I have seen them. They're boisterous and well, normal children, naughty and boisterous. Because they're very brought up as Christian as well. Hopefully they'll realise themselves that it's all a rubbish. Of course, I can't have any influence on it. I would like them here actually, but having children in the house is quite tiring. I do like children in the house, but I had children before, they're through now. Not my children, it's all. The people who love my life are fairly ignorant, and they believe forceful beliefs, actually killing people. That's one of those things. And I won't be a Muslim, so hopefully they'll stay away. We'll stay out of it, but it is. And I say, I don't appreciate this terror going on in Iraq, but things would change us if they become victorious, and they do get Islamic State. I would have thought quite a lot of people in Iraq actually support the idea of an Islamic State, but not the violence, and which is reported, and it's probably true. You know, if you want to terrify people, you get an easy victory. I think Saladin did that. If you surrendered straight away, you were saved. But if you opposed them, you were mercilessly destroyed. I don't know what their philosophy is. But and it's an awful situation to be in. It really is. And of course, people here do think so too. Of course, the Christians are still here. The numbers are not unequal. Not equal, but not unequal. But they're unequal. Hopefully there won't be fighting here. But I know some Christians want to tear the Muslims apart, tear down the mosque and murder all the Muslims. I've heard that. And I don't think the Muslims want to do that. They actually want to convert the Christians. Because a jihad means converting people, not killing them. But it's awful. Really is awful. Most of your reasons believe things aren't true. But you can teach somebody who's alive. Once they need, you can't teach them, so it's too late. But some believe, some Muslims do believe in heaven, but basically there's no heaven, there's no mortality. Well, you can't prove or disprove the existence of God, that's voluntary. But I don't believe a thing like a description of God, a thing like that could possibly exist. It just couldn't exist, fortunately. So it's nonsense. And I'm really feel upset. So, my life has passed me by, basically. I got anywhere. I got no money's been stolen, basically. And I'm not happy. But I have been abroad and I've seen things. And I was in the war. I fought with the communists, and we won. But the communists didn't do the Muslims don't like communists so much. But because the Muslims being a free enterprise and that sort of stuff. And especially because that produces the goods. And the Holy Prophet says that a man who's an honest trader gets his money, he's good his life, and people come back to him for more, so he has a prosperous life. And a dishonest trader loses his customers, they'll only out, stone him to death to get his money. So that's how it is. So, And the Sharia law is the same as Christian law. If you look at the Bible, Leviticus contains both Jewish law and Sharia law and Christian law. And in there they cut people's hands off, all sorts of things. But it is an emergency. Niceties of prison are expensive. I understand some prisoners are being killed now, or treated. Rapists are being found to have prostate cancer, for example. And well, that's very obvious. I had prostate disease. It was causing problems. And so I went to the doctor, and I went now better they even give me finasteride. And since I met Egypt, this whole thing's got back to normal. I'm quite pleased about it. It's much more comfortable. Sex maniacs feel very uncomfortable because there's this ejaculation the whole time, and they can't stop it. So they need treatment, not prison. Prison's no good, because they come out still sex maniacs. So they need treatment with finasteride. And I did have prostate disease, and so if you declare that, that means you can't be a sex maniac, which is good. And I think all sex maniacs are the same. They have prostate disease. In fact, I didn't actually hurt anybody, but it's very bad to have prostate disease. That's very bad. I always paid people well for what they did for me. So I feel bad, but the best way to let me have a wife, they wouldn't. So that's how bad it is. You see, they didn't want me to contaminate the children with my ideas. They could have children, but not bring them up. And ladies have, quite happily gone to sleep with me and had my baby, but they wouldn't let me marry them and have children. I believed it as I say, but I married her and I hoped to register marriage. And it's a sickening story. Christians are horrible people, really horrible. And most of the priests are sex maniacs because they can't get sex anywhere. And of course, that's not quite Anglican priests and Baptist priests, but they're awful people. Baptists, they're bashing Bibles, pretty awful people. This is true. This is God's word. But can I read? I can read. They say God gave us the universe. So if I can read it too, God gave it to me too. That's nonsense, isn't it? And I asked them how much a star would cost them. We were star. And they think God throws planets. Of course, they don't. Planets are. And they say stars are lights in the sky. Well, even the youngest child in Islam knows there's more to it than that. And well, if you read a simple book on astronomy, you know a star is a hot place and it's glowing from its own massive fusion, nuclear fusion. And it also occurs that only the surface of the star is hot, entirely it's cold. So there has been stories about cold suns, but I don't know. The people would know better. So I know why transducer is cold. In fact, when I measured the temperature of the plasma, it was less than ambient. It was -1. So the wires got hot, but the gas was cold. And it was actually running, but the power was coming from the electricity supply rather than the fusion mixture. But later, I think we managed to get it running without the exciter. And I've been told there's a demonstration in Science Museum. I don't know. But people hate me. They really do. And the other thing is that if you read Einstein's books properly, he says he made a deliberate mistake to make maths easier. It's in the separation of the variables. If you do the same calculations with maths, okay, which I did, which is just writing in the formula, before he gets the final solution, it comes out differently. The numerical solution of the equation. It depends where you take it. It's got a round part, but it's actually metric rather than anything else. So Einstein is not simple. I think it's Riemann who did this maths. And I don't know. And, I don't know, actually. But they did, because he was a wise man, the psychiatrist knocked him in the head because he couldn't stand him. I met him, the same man who murdered Edith, and they murdered Annie. And knocked him in the head. And half his brain was hit. All people with glial cells now, so he wasn't there. But they examined his brain, it's not there. I think he was killed. So he had one brother in there, and Uncle Arthur. That's how it is. So I won't go on, but I'm very unhappy because I've now finally realised I will die, and that's how it is. And they try to get me to, well, everybody does what I try to make excuses, stay alive forever for some reason, but there isn't one. You just die. I've been seeing people die and the experience so many times, and who don't come back. So it's awful. It's all very sad, you see, that's the sadness. And I think Jesus was sad for a little bit, as he said he was sad. But it appears that Jesus gave him somewhere else, and probably in their flank. But he's probably an android, and he would have died too, you see, they might switched him off, and reprogram his memories or something. I see, so, very bad. In one of the texts I've read, Jesus turned into a porpoise and played in the sea. Well, yes, it says so. And one of other things. So the ancient Indian gods like that. They changed the horse and tipper it into a field of the garden and changed the man again. So, yeah, just for fun. That's what it is for fun. So, the stories you get in the Bible do vary from, it depends on the translation. That's very bad. And the other thing, there's lots of stuff about this second son. I think it's called a plain text or somewhere. I don't know about it. Also, you see it. So. But it's in the Bible. There's a Bible. It's King's 18. It's not there in most Bibles, but interestingly, if you had the New English Bible, the first edition, which I had, first impression it was there. So I think it was King's 18. There was a description of two suns in the sky, and there was a battle fought because one sun went down, the other sun came up. Some Bibles says the sun stood still. It's not true. There were two suns in the sky. So it depends on the version of the Bible you read. And in fact, the person who was very angry about me saying that, they had to change it back to say, so they were actually, the sun stood still. It doesn't actually say that. So one sun went down, and the sun came up. And the soldiers who fought the first battle had checked out a second group of troops to fought through the night, and the enemy were unprepared for that, and they died. And he doesn't say anything about the Jewish rather. This is before the Jews. And they worship the sun. So when they found that they had these poles, so there's a shadow of the sun instead of the sun, which is astronomy. And they found there were two shadows. So they moved around. They wrote it all out. So the people in the Bible weren't stupid, and they weren't Jews. The Jews came later. It appears to be a Bedouin tribe. But anyway, so I didn't know science very much. Like the Christians. Christians are killing scientists. I've heard of 200 scientists murdered by Christians. And you know this nuclear physicist from Russia who died of polonium poisoning. I think it was from that's done by the Christian Church. And I think it's British Christians do it. Although there's evidence of it to do it. But they do actually murder people because scientists make radiation, so they're killed by radiation. There's a big bunch of all day. It's all there. So I think that. I did try to poison with a polonium, went through, but it was spent, there was no radioactivity in it. Oh, they're awful people, really are awful. They hate scientists. Especially these people, and the evolution alliance. They try to kind of court order it. I don't know it's still taught in schools, but they're criminals, they really are. They don't want knowledge, they want people to be ignorant. Of course, they get money out of them, don't they? And because the other problem they think would happen if people knew about death, and the fact that they wouldn't come back, they get no reward, they get nothing, they would not go to work. Well, if you get a reward, a normal reward, a pension, and good money, you do work because you enjoy life while you got it. And most people take their attitude to enjoy life while you got it. What do we die? But we don't have a good time. Don't necessarily hurt people. It's same thing at work. And Stevens says that actually. He says, have your life first. If you will die, have your life first. So all these sick people think they walk and do to twist themselves up and so on. But they're just sick. It's not only Christianity. Muslims don't do that. They don't worship. They don't worship death. Their worship of death is actually the worship of the devil. So I think so. But, if you read the stories in the Bible, Adam and Eve, there's a different version. I think it was the human race, part of the human race, was made by aliens as pets. Generally, they were white men, actually. Yes, really put up as white men. There's plenty of aliens at the time, colonies. And the animals were people, men, they were men, but they were improved and successfully bred and genetic manipulation done. And the result was a superior animal which could talk and be company to the aliens, and that's a really impact, you know, from aliens. And well, the humans got out of these new humans who were clever, actually cleverer than the aliens, and got out of their compounds, took over their spaceships and threw the aliens out. That's a story. It's in the Bible, actually. That's a story about the war. And then we know where it is, where it is. And the result, two aliens. One was called Lucifer, who wanted to preserve the human race and teach them the artifacts of science. And the other alien was known as God, who was to destroy the human race because they were nuisance. So there's two prince of darkness. You said you work all your life, you die, and then you die, and you have a reward then, which is not true. No, I died. And the priest of the light is a good life, you know, to machines and technology, and have a good life. You keep your brains, but you don't die. But you have your life first. And you're fighting about a sense because there's money. The priest of darkness will make money. The priest of light don't get very much. That's what it is. So Lucifer is the good guy. And he wants us to live and have healthy lives, happy lives, but die, unfortunately, because you get old and die of global. It's not very nice. That's why. I'm not quite sure whether that comes into the Islamic tradition, but it is in the Albertan story. I think it's in the text somewhere. That's pretty bad. So because you follow Lucifer and have a good time. Not necessarily having sex the whole time or being drunk, but having a successful life, an honest trader, and have a good life. In Britain, people are kept prisoner, they can't leave the country, they're very badly treated, they're not very well educated, but some of them are just very. If you're an Irish, get good education, if you're not, you don't. And the workers have their brains incised and stupid, and I think I'm down as Irish because my father was one of the royal family. I made a stubborn, so I'm not very into it, but I don't like it. I've always been against it. It's really shut me out. And that's a bad situation. So we don't like Britain. I think America's a free country. It's much better. Everything's better in America. And they're civilized and so on. And of course, things are better. But anyway, so Hungary is awful. So you go to get rid of they're Nazis. Nazism doesn't work. Anyway, I'm going to go now and probably be damned.